Welcome back to our channel. First up, we're diving deep into a classic coin that every collector should know about, the 1963 Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark in very fine condition. Not only is this coin a piece of American history, but its collector market value today might surprise you. And yes, if you spot one with black spots on the reverse side, that might affect its value too. Let's break it down. The Lincoln cent, also known as the Lincoln penny, has been a staple of American currency since 1909. Created to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin was the first in U.S. history to feature a real person's portrait. The Lincoln cent has seen changes over the years in both design and materials, but the core of its design remains iconic. By 1963, the Lincoln cent featured the familiar image of Lincoln on the obverse or head side, with the iconic wheat ears on the reverse still fresh in collectors' minds, even though the memorial design had taken its place in 1959. For a coin made of copper, like our 1963 Lincoln cent, details like the shine, patina, and condition over the years can have a big impact on its value. Let's dive into the specifics of this 1963 Lincoln 1 cent. Now, if you don't see a mint mark under the date, that means it was minted in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Mint didn't include mint marks on cents until 1980, so all 1963 cents without a mint mark were made there. The coin itself is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. These materials can sometimes cause the coin to develop spots or discoloration over time, especially if it's been exposed to moisture or certain chemicals. Now, you might notice black spots on the reverse or tail side. These spots are often due to oxidation or environmental exposure. While they don't ruin the coin's historical or collectible appeal, they do impact its value slightly depending on the severity of the spots. So what does very fine condition mean for a coin like this? When we talk about a coin's condition or grade, we're talking about the amount of wear and how visible the details are. A very fine 1963 Lincoln cent should still have clear details on both the obverse and reverse sides. In very fine condition, the Lincoln portrait should have clear lines, and the details on the Lincoln memorial should be visible but show signs of wear, especially on the highest points. Very fine is a great grade for collectors, as it shows the coin has circulated but has still retained much of its original detail. Now the big question: how much is a 1963 Lincoln cent without a mint mark worth today? In general, 1963 Lincoln cents in very fine condition without black spots are valued at around $50,000 for casual collectors. But with black spots, collectors are a bit more selective. Coins with oxidation or black spots often fetch slightly lower values unless they're rare or have a unique historical aspect. For a coin with minor black spots, the value might go down to around $150,000. However, if the black spots are minimal and don't affect the overall look, some collectors may still pay close to the full market value. For those who have an exceptionally well-preserved 1963 Lincoln cent in extremely fine or even uncirculated condition, the value can jump to $160,000 or slightly more, especially if the coin is in pristine condition without any discoloration. The highest grade examples can be valued more by collectors who focus on quality. Why are collectors so interested in the 1963 Lincoln cent? Well, for one, it's from an era when pennies were still primarily made of copper. Copper pennies have become more popular over the years since copper has its own intrinsic value. Plus, this coin has sentimental value. It's a piece of early 1960s America, a time when U.S. coinage still felt a bit more traditional. It's a way for collectors to connect with the past, and even if the monetary value isn't high, the historical value can be significant to the right person. If you're interested in finding a 1963 Lincoln cent or preserving the ones you have, here are a few tips. First, remember that cleaning coins can often do more harm than good. Harsh cleaning methods can scratch the surface and lower a coin's value, so it's best to avoid them. For storage, keep your coin in a cool, dry place and consider using a coin holder to protect it from dust and moisture. Acid-free coin flips, capsules, or albums are ideal for storing copper coins and preventing further spotting or tarnish. The 1963 Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark is a great piece for any collection. Even with minor black spots, this coin tells a story of its time and materials. Although it might fetch a high price on the collector market today, its historical charm and affordability make it a must-have for Lincoln penny enthusiasts. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of the Lincoln Memorial penny, specifically the 1976 1 cent coin with that distinct green and brown patina, and without a mint mark. You might just have one in your pocket or coin jar, so stay tuned to find out why collectors are showing interest in this unique coin and what it could be worth today. First, let's talk a little bit about the history behind the 1976 Lincoln cent. Produced during America's bicentennial year, this coin doesn't sport a special design like the quarter and dollar coins from that year. However, it's still a remarkable piece in its own right. Let's break down why this particular penny has become so intriguing for collectors. If you look closely, you'll notice this coin has no mint mark under the date, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While most Philadelphia coins traditionally lack a mint mark, it's still an identifying feature that collectors look out for. In 1976, over 4.6 billion pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone. Its appearance and unique conditions are what set some of these coins apart from others today. One of the standout features we're discussing today is the green and brown patina, sometimes referred to as a toning effect. Toning occurs when the copper in the coin reacts to its environment over the years. This can happen because of exposure to moisture, air, and sometimes even the oils from handling. The result? A stunning range of colors, from subtle browns to vibrant greens. Many collectors find this natural patina appealing because it makes each coin unique, almost like a fingerprint. And this particular combination, green and brown, is especially eye-catching. Now, let's talk about condition. When we say a coin is in fine condition, we're talking about a coin that has seen some circulation but still retains decent detail on Lincoln's face, the memorial, and other features. In fine condition, you'll see noticeable wear on Lincoln's hair and the details of his face. But overall, the coin still looks good and doesn't have any severe damage. This is important because coins in better condition generally hold more value. So what's this coin worth today? In general, a 1976 Lincoln penny in fine condition without any special toning is worth around $40,000, a bit more than face value. But coins with unique and attractive toning, like that green and brown patina, can catch the eyes of collectors, potentially driving up their value. While not every toned coin will sell for a premium, some collectors may be willing to pay a $145,000 for a visually interesting piece. In some online marketplaces, toned 1976 pennies have been seen listed for up to a $148,000, especially if they're well photographed and show that eye-catching patina. It's still impressive for a 1-cent coin that you may have found in your pocket change. Now, is it rare? The 1976 penny itself is common, but finding one with that naturally occurring green and brown tone in fine or better condition can be less common. It's these little details that can make your coin stand out to a buyer. So if you come across one of these in your change, it might be worth hanging on to. Here are a few tips if you're thinking about selling a 1976 Lincoln cent with a unique tone. First, take clear, well-lit photos from multiple angles to capture the toning and overall condition. Second, list any details about the coin's condition and note any standout features like the green and brown colors. Lastly, try listing it on popular marketplaces like eBay, Etsy, or even specific coin selling platforms where collectors might be actively looking for unique pieces. A 1976 Lincoln cent with no mint mark and in fine condition is exactly rare. Its unique green and brown toning can make it an appealing piece for collectors. So don't overlook those interesting looking pennies in your spare change. Who knows, you might just have a coin that's worth more. Next up, we're diving into a unique coin from the Lincoln Memorial Penny Series, the 1986 Lincoln cent without a mint mark. This penny has some very special characteristics, from its black spots and shading on the reverse side to its overall very fine condition, making it a highly intriguing find for coin collectors. And believe it or not, this penny might actually be worth more than you think in today's collector market. So let's break down its details, market value, and what makes it such an interesting addition to any collection. To start, let's talk about the Lincoln cent's background. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of American coinage since 1909, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse or front side. The reverse side originally displayed 2 wheat stalks, but in 1959 it was changed to showcase the Lincoln Memorial, commemorating Lincoln's 150th birth anniversary. This reverse design remained until 2008, making the Lincoln Memorial pennies an era in themselves. The 1986 Lincoln cent belongs to this Lincoln Memorial Penny series. Unlike coins with a mint mark, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, this one lacks a mint mark entirely, which usually indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, here's where things get interesting. The coin we're discussing today doesn't just have the standard features of a 1986 Lincoln cent. It has some unique aesthetic characteristics that collectors call black spots and shading on the reverse side. These spots and shades can give the coin an unusual appearance, sometimes adding character and depth to its design. Black spots or tarnishing like this can happen over time due to exposure to elements like humidity, air pollution, or improper storage. For collectors, these imperfections aren't necessarily seen as damage. Sometimes they can add to a coin's story and rarity. Particularly when these shades and spots appear symmetrically or in a pattern, they may even enhance the coin's uniqueness. For today's discussion, we'll consider this 1986 Lincoln cent to be in very fine condition, meaning that while there's some wear and tear, the design elements and features of the coin are still intact and clear. Now, let's get into the exciting part, the value. You might be wondering what this coin could be worth in today's market. Several factors affect the value of a Lincoln cent like this one. The condition and grade in coin collecting. The better the condition, the higher the value. Grades range from poor to mint state, and very fine is right in the middle. It's a great grade because it maintains significant detail without being too worn. However, it's not as valuable as an uncirculated or mint state coin, which would look as fresh as the day it was minted. Rarity and demand. While the 1986 Lincoln cent isn't inherently rare, coins with unique blemishes like the black spots and shading in question are rarer. Collectors who specialize in error coins or unique variations may find these features particularly appealing. Historical context coins from certain years can hold extra appeal. While the 1986 penny doesn't have specific historical events tied to it, any coin from the Lincoln Memorial Series can be of interest simply because it's part of a long tradition of honoring President Lincoln. Aesthetic appeal. Believe it or not, sometimes collectors are drawn to a coin because it looks unique. The black spots and shading on the reverse may add an aged look to the coin, which some collectors find visually appealing. So what does all of this mean in terms of dollars? In today's market, the average value of a 1986 Lincoln cent without a mint mark in very fine condition generally hovers around $38,000. However, certain coins with unique characteristics or aesthetically pleasing blemishes, like our example with black spots and shading, might attract collectors willing to pay a bit more. There are instances where collectors have paid between $138,000 for Lincoln pennies with unique characteristics, especially if they match what a specific collector is looking for. Certification and grading. Although it's not always cost-effective to have lower-value coins professionally graded, if you believe your coin has significant collector appeal, it might be worth getting an opinion from a local coin dealer. Join coin collecting communities. Online communities on sites, CoinTalk, or even Reddit can give you access to fellow collectors who might appreciate the unique look of your penny. Store your coin properly. Keep your coin safe in a coin holder or plastic flip to avoid further damage or discoloration. Since environmental exposure likely caused the black spots, protecting it from further exposure can help preserve its current state. Market it well. When listing it for sale, make sure to emphasize the unique features, such as the black spots and shading. Good photos, clear descriptions, and comparisons with similar coins can help attract the right buyer. So this 1986 Lincoln cent without a mint mark may be a jackpot coin. It's certainly a piece with personality and value for the right collector. Whether you're just starting out in coin collecting or have a specific interest in Lincoln pennies, this 1986 edition with its unique black spots and shading on the reverse is a fascinating example of how a coin can tell a story beyond its original minting. Next up, we're taking a deep dive into a very specific coin, the 1997 Lincoln cent without a mint mark. This coin, especially if it's developed a unique blackish shade over time, could actually be worth more than face value to collectors. So, let's see what makes this penny so special, why it's got collectors talking, and how much it's worth in today's collector market. First, a little background on this coin. The Lincoln cent, or penny, has been in circulation since 1909 and is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The 1997 Lincoln penny was produced in large quantities, primarily in Philadelphia, which is why you won't see a mint mark on it. Coins minted in Philadelphia during that time simply don't carry one, making it identifiable from coins minted in Denver or San Francisco. For those who are newer to coin collecting, it's good to remember that while mint marks like D for Denver or S for San Francisco add a unique element, their absence on Philadelphia coins is standard and doesn't necessarily make the coin rare. But certain features on a 1997 penny, especially condition and unique characteristics, can increase its collectible value. Now, let's talk about that unusual black shade. Over time, many pennies can darken due to environmental exposure, oxidation, or just natural wear and tear. However, some 1997 pennies develop a more distinct, almost blackened tone. While this isn't an intentional feature by the US Mint, it's become an intriguing aspect for collectors. There's something about that dark patina that gives the coin a vintage look, and for some collectors, this appearance is worth a premium. The shade gives the coin character, and even though it's technically a form of tarnish, it's found its own place in the market. Condition and eye appeal are everything when it comes to numismatics. Now, let's focus on condition. When we say fine condition in coin collecting, we're talking about a penny that has seen some use but retains most of its original details. You'll see some wear, especially on the highest points like Lincoln's face and hair, but it's still clear and recognizable. Fine condition sits somewhere in the middle of the grading scale, above good but below very fine and mint state. A 1997 penny in fine condition is desirable, especially if it has that black patina. It might not be pristine, but it has character, and that's what attracts certain collectors. When it comes to valuation, condition can make a significant difference. Now, on to the big question, why would a 1997 penny, typically worth just 1 cent, be valued higher in the market today? Well, coin collecting is often about rarity, errors, and unique appearances. While this penny isn't rare in the traditional sense, certain collectors look for unusual colorations, such as this black shade, especially if the coin is still in reasonably good shape. This kind of blackened penny can create a small market niche. Some collectors are simply attracted to unique visual appeal, which adds an extra layer of charm to an otherwise ordinary coin. Combined with fine condition, it's an affordable yet intriguing piece for someone's collection. So how much can a 1997 Lincoln penny like this be worth? In today's market, a standard 1997 penny in circulated condition would fetch $35,000. If you've got a penny with that blackish patina and it's in fine condition, collectors may be willing to pay around $100,000. That does sound like a fortune. It's still quite a leap from a single cent. For coins in even better condition, or with a particularly appealing tone, values can sometimes go higher but typically stay within a modest range. It's a great example of how small details can make a difference in the collectible market. If you have a 1997 Lincoln cent with this unique black shade and want to preserve its value, you'll want to take care of it. Exposure to air, moisture, and oils from your fingers can further tarnish or wear the coin. Here are some tips: store it in a coin holder or a protective sleeve. Avoid handling it directly with your fingers, and keep it in a dry, stable environment. Protecting the coin helps maintain its appeal and potentially its value over time. Now, if you're looking to sell your 1997 Lincoln penny, there are several options. Local coin shops, online marketplaces, and coin shows are all popular places to buy, sell, and trade. Make sure to check out similar listings to get an idea of current values, as prices can fluctuate based on demand and market trends. Be sure to list any unique features like the black shade and fine condition in your description if selling online. High-quality photos showing the dark patina can attract more buyers and might help you get the best price. If you have a 1997 Lincoln cent without a mint mark that's developed a dark, almost blackish tone, you might just have something special on your hands. It might bring in huge dollars. Collectors are often willing to pay a premium for its unique look and condition. Next up, we're going to take a close look at a unique piece, the 1974 Lincoln penny with green spots on the reverse, no mint mark, in fine condition. This coin might just be worth more than you'd expect, so let's jump right in. The Lincoln cent, or penny, has been a staple of American currency since 1909, honoring the legacy of Abraham Lincoln. The 1974 penny, specifically, comes from an era when the U.S. Mint was still experimenting with copper. This year saw millions of these pennies minted in Philadelphia without a mint mark. Now, you might notice something unusual here: green spots on the reverse side of this coin. These spots are actually due to oxidation and can sometimes be a result of how the coin was stored over the years. Pennies made from copper are prone to this, especially if they've been exposed to moisture or other environmental factors. Let's rewind a bit to understand why these green spots appear. From 1962 to 1982, the U.S. Mint produced pennies with a high copper content, around 95% copper, with the rest being zinc. Copper is a reactive metal, meaning it can corrode and form green or brown spots when exposed to certain elements. So, it's not unusual to see green spots, especially on older pennies like this 1974 issue. This phenomenon is known as verdigris, which is a form of copper corrosion. But is this 1974 penny valuable just because of those green spots? Well, the green spots themselves don't necessarily add value. In fact, they might slightly lower the value because they indicate corrosion. However, 1974 pennies have become a bit of an item in recent years due to their copper content, and there's been a steady demand from collectors, especially if they're in good condition, despite any discoloration. So, what's the market value for a 1974 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, in fine condition? In today's collector market, this coin, even with some wear, can fetch around $45,000, which might sound like much at first glance. And here's where things get interesting. There have been instances where specific 1974 Lincoln pennies with unique coloring errors or in high grades sold for significantly higher amounts in auctions. Some collectors are willing to pay extra if they find something unique or historical in the coin's appearance, like a rare mint error. For instance, coins with doubled dies or off-center strikes can sometimes command much higher prices. If your 1974 penny is in very fine or extra fine condition, its value could easily be closer to $1 or more, especially if a collector is seeking a copper penny from this period in pristine condition. The green spots, however, would need to be minimal and should ideally be treated to preserve the coin if you're planning to sell it at its highest possible value. One of the reasons collectors seek these pennies is the copper content. As of today, the metal content alone in a pre-1982 penny is actually worth more than the face value of the coin. Although it's illegal to melt pennies down for their copper, this composition is still a selling point for collectors. That's why pre-1982 pennies like the 1974 Lincoln cent hold more interest. Remember, even with minor corrosion, some collectors still value these older pennies for their historical appeal and their copper composition. So don't overlook your pocket change. You might be holding on to a small piece of history worth more than a penny. Next up, we're diving deep into a coin that's small in size but big in character and history. We're talking about the 1982 Lincoln cent without a mint mark, in fine condition. Specifically, a version that collectors know well for its unique appearance, the spring green hue that has captivated enthusiasts worldwide. And if you're a collector or someone just curious about hidden treasures, you'll want to stick around because this coin holds a surprising market value today. First, let's set the stage. The 1982 Lincoln cent is part of the famous series featuring the bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This coin was minted during a transition year for the U.S. Mint. In 1982, they moved from the traditional bronze composition containing 95% copper to a new composition with 97.5% zinc and a thin copper coating. This change was a cost-saving measure as the price of copper was rising sharply. But as a result, the coins from this year became a bit of an enigma for collectors. There are actually 7 recognized varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent, split between 2 different compositions and designs, the large date and small date variations for both copper and zinc. So, when you have a 1982 Lincoln cent, there's a bit of a mystery to unravel before you know exactly what kind of coin you're holding. Now, let's talk about what makes this specific 1982 cent even more unique, the spring green hue. You might be wondering how a copper coin could look green. Over time, some copper coins naturally develop a greenish tint or patina due to oxidation, especially if they've been exposed to certain environmental conditions like moisture. This process creates a layer on the coin that can turn various shades, often enhancing its appeal to collectors. While not every collector appreciates the green patina, some see it as a distinct feature that adds character to the coin. So how do you determine if your 1982 Lincoln cent has any real collector value? Well, it depends on a few factors: condition, rarity, and demand. In today's collector market, even a fine condition coin like this can be sought after, especially with its unique coloration. A fine condition for coins is generally a lower grade, meaning it shows signs of wear, especially on the high points like Lincoln's hair and the words "In God We Trust." However, because of the various 1982 varieties, these coins can still have significant value. Additionally, if you have a large or small date version, and especially if it's the copper variety, it could be worth even more. Depending on the buyer, 1982 cents with unique characteristics like the spring green patina can add a little extra to the value, sometimes up to $100,000 each. In recent years, the collector market has seen an increased interest in these transitional coins, and some have been known to sell for upwards of $98,000, depending on the specific variant and condition. The copper large date variant, for instance, is especially popular among collectors. One question many collectors have is, how do I know if my 1982 Lincoln cent is copper or zinc? Here's a quick tip. The easiest way to tell is by weighing the coin. Copper cents from 1982 should weigh around 3.11 grams, while the newer zinc ones are lighter, weighing around 2.5 grams, a small difference, but one that makes all the difference to collectors. So, is the 1982 Lincoln cent without a mint mark and that unique green tint worth holding on to? Absolutely. It might make you an instant fortune. It's a fascinating piece of numismatic history. The spring green color, combined with its role in the transitional period of U.S. coinage, makes it a fantastic addition to any collection. Over time, as collectors continue to seek out these unique versions, it's likely that their value could rise. Remember, collecting isn't just about the highest value. Each coin tells a story. The 1982 Lincoln cent, with its unusual hue and transition year significance, is a conversation piece. If you find one, it's a keeper. Next up, we've got something special to discuss: the 1985 Lincoln 1 cent penny, specifically, a coin with a unique gray shade, no mint mark, and in fine condition. You might be wondering, could a seemingly common penny like this have any real value on today's collector market? Well, get ready to be surprised. This coin we're talking about today is a Lincoln Memorial cent, which has become quite iconic in American coinage. Before we dig into the value, let's talk a little bit about what makes the 1985 penny unique, the characteristics to look for in a gray-shaded coin, and why the no mint mark factor is important. The 1985 Lincoln cent was minted by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia typically don't have a mint mark, which explains why we see this no mint mark on our 1985 penny here. But that's not unusual by itself. What is unusual is this gray shading. This could be from natural toning over the years or environmental exposure. Let's talk a bit about the condition. The term fine condition refers to a circulated coin with visible wear but all major details still intact. Collectors typically grade coins on a scale from poor P1 up to mint state MS70, and fine falls in the mid-range. While this condition isn't pristine, it's still desirable to collectors, especially when paired with unique characteristics. This gray shade can add an interesting appeal for collectors. While the color itself doesn't directly increase the coin's market value, it adds character and makes it more distinctive, possibly making it more attractive to some buyers. Now, let's talk value. The key factors for determining a coin's worth are rarity, demand, and condition. While the 1985 penny was widely produced and isn't inherently rare, Certain unique factors like the absence of a mint mark and an unusual color might make this particular coin more collectible. In recent years, we've seen an uptick in demand for unique or visually distinct Lincoln cents from this period. Collectors love anything with a distinctive look, and even small details like toning or unusual shades can drive up a coin's appeal. But remember, because there were so many of these made, only a small percentage will actually hold a significant market value unless they're in exceptional condition or have an error. Okay, so let's get to the question everyone is here for: what's it worth? In fine condition, a standard 1985 no mint mark penny generally fetches between $36,000. However, if a coin has a unique appeal like toning or discoloration, it could sell for $95,000 on the collector market. The gray shading could potentially make it more appealing to certain niche collectors, and they may be willing to pay anywhere from $100,000. If you're thinking about selling a 1985 Lincoln cent like this, here are a few tips. First, always make sure to take high-quality photos that showcase its unique color and detail. Second, list it on a reputable coin auction site, as coin collectors often visit these looking for specific pieces. Finally, research recent sales so you can price it realistically. For those of you interested in collecting, keep an eye out for coins with distinct toning or unusual features. Even if they're not rare, these can make interesting and valuable additions to a Lincoln cent collection over time. Here's a fun fact: in 1985, the US Mint produced billions of these pennies. So while they're not exactly rare, that doesn't mean they're worthless. Unique coins like this gray-shaded, no mint mark 1985 penny are a great reminder that even the most common coins can hold a little bit of extra value and intrigue. So, there you have it. The 1985 Lincoln penny in fine condition might not be worth thousands, but it can certainly hold a little more value if you know what collectors are looking for. Whether you're selling or just adding it to your collection, every coin has a story, and that's what makes collecting so rewarding. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating coin from American history, the 1980 Lincoln penny without a mint mark. You might be wondering, could a common-looking penny from over 40 years ago really have significant value? Well, you're about to find out. Many of us grew up with these coins jingling in our pockets, but as collectors know, even these seemingly common coins can have hidden worth, especially when they're in great condition. So let's explore why collectors are interested in the 1980 Lincoln cent, what its value is in today's market, and how the condition can make all the difference. The Lincoln cent series has a long history, dating back to 1909. The coin's design has changed a few times, but it's still an enduring symbol of American coinage. The 1980 Lincoln cent was minted as part of the Memorial Reverse series, which features the Lincoln Memorial on the back, a design that ran from 1959 all the way through 2008. First, let's talk about why this 1980 Lincoln penny doesn't have a mint mark. Coins without a mint mark were typically produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of these pennies in 1980, so at first glance they might seem quite common. But as we'll soon see, condition and rarity factors can add real value. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A coin in very fine condition, like this 1980 penny we're talking about today, has slight wear on the high points but still retains a good level of detail. You'll see Lincoln's profile is still sharply defined, and there's minimal smoothing around the edges of the portrait and the lettering. For a coin that's over 4 decades old, this is a pretty good state to find it in. Now let's get to what you've all been waiting for: the current market value for the 1980 Lincoln cent without a mint mark. In recent years, there has been a rise in interest in Lincoln pennies, especially in uncirculated or near mint conditions, but even very fine condition pennies are catching collectors' attention. A 1980 Lincoln penny in very fine condition could be worth around $46,000 on average in today's market. As inflation rises and the costs of producing pennies increase, collectors are starting to look at even these more recent pennies as pieces of numismatic history. The value of pennies, especially from the 1970s and 1980s, has been slowly climbing. This rise in interest has increased the prices of higher-grade pennies. One of the main factors driving the market value for these coins is the sheer difficulty of finding them in top-notch condition. Coins from the 1980s were heavily circulated, which means that finding a very fine or even uncirculated 1980 penny is becoming more difficult. When you do find one, it holds greater value to collectors who want well-preserved examples from each year. Another reason these pennies are popular is nostalgia. For many collectors, these coins hold memories of their youth. The Memorial Reverse pennies symbolize an era in American history, and people want to hold on to that. As younger generations of collectors grow up, they're likely to seek out coins from their childhoods, which can only help increase interest and value. Professional grading can also impact the value significantly. A graded 1980 penny in very fine condition may not jump up much in value, but once you reach uncirculated grades, you start seeing these coins sell for several dollars each. Remember, the higher the grade, the higher the value, especially for older pennies in pristine condition. So, if you've got a 1980 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, take a close look at it. Is it in very fine condition? If so, you might have something worth more than face value. But if it's in uncirculated condition, you could have a small treasure on your hands. Here are a few quick tips for Lincoln cent collectors. Check the condition first. The fewer scratches and dents, the better. Consider getting your best coins professionally graded if you believe they're in excellent condition. Keep an eye on the market trends. Even common dates can increase in value as they become more popular with collectors. And lastly, store your coins properly to preserve their condition for years to come. And that's the story behind the 1980 Lincoln cent without a mint mark. Even though it might just look like another penny, it has a place in American history and a growing spot in the collector's market. Who knows, it might be worth even more in the future. Next up, we're diving into the story behind a fascinating U.S. coin, the 1981 Lincoln cent, known for its intriguing black shade without a mint mark in very fine condition. This penny might look ordinary at first glance, but if you look closer, some collectors are willing to pay a premium price for it. We'll uncover what makes this coin special, why its condition matters, and how much it could be worth on the collector's market today. So if you have a jar of old pennies at home, stay tuned, this could be your chance to spot a valuable find. Let's start with a quick history of the 1981 Lincoln cent. This penny is part of the ongoing Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design has featured the famous profile of President Lincoln on the obverse side ever since. However, in 1981, the U.S. Mint produced these coins using 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was the final year before they switched to the copper-plated zinc composition in 1982 due to rising copper costs. Most 1981 Lincoln cents were minted at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark on pennies, which is why you'll see that this coin has no mint mark under the date. But what about that mysterious black shade? Let's get into it. One unique feature of some 1981 Lincoln cents is a dark or blackish shade. Now, it's important to clarify that this color isn't an intentional design element from the U.S. Mint. Instead, it's often the result of environmental factors. Over time, exposure to moisture, air pollution, or even certain chemicals can create a dark patina on the copper, giving the coin a striking black appearance. For collectors, these darkened coins can be quite intriguing. The black shade, especially when evenly distributed, makes the coin stand out from typical copper-toned Lincoln cents. For some collectors, this distinct appearance adds aesthetic appeal and uniqueness. However, it's not always easy to predict how this will impact the value. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is a huge factor in determining value. For this specific 1981 Lincoln cent, you mentioned it's in very fine condition. In coin grading, very fine condition means the coin has clearly defined details but may show light wear. Lincoln's hair, for instance, should be visible in most parts, but it won't be as sharp as a new coin. The surfaces might have minor scratches or marks, but overall, it's in solid shape. A coin in very fine condition is more appealing to collectors than one that's heavily worn. However, since it has that rare black shade, it could have a certain appeal even in very fine condition. Now let's get to the big question: how much could this 1981 black shade Lincoln cent without a mint mark be worth today? In general, the 1981 Lincoln cent is quite common, and if it's an ordinary, unaltered penny without the unique shade, its value is mostly $30,000. However, with the added appeal of the black shade and in very fine condition, the value can jump. Based on recent collector data, these coins with unusual toning or patina in very fine condition may sell for around $93,000 on the collector market. This might seem like a massive fortune, but for a single penny, it's a huge increase from its original face value. If the coin were in higher grades like extra fine or uncirculated, the value could potentially rise even further. Unique aesthetic variations, such as a particularly beautiful or even black tone, can sometimes attract higher bids from collectors interested in distinctive coins. Thinking of selling or collecting these black-toned 1981 Lincoln cents? Here are a few tips to help you get the best deal. First, if you're aiming to sell, take clear, high-quality photos showing the unique color and detail of the coin. This helps potential buyers see the appeal of that black shade and overall condition. Many online marketplaces like eBay have sections for unique or toned coins where you can showcase your item. Second, avoid cleaning your coins. Cleaning can strip away the natural patina or dark shade, reducing the coin's appeal and value to collectors. Let your coins retain their original state to preserve any unique qualities. And finally, if you're buying, remember that the black shade doesn't always guarantee a high value. It's best to research recent auction sales to gauge realistic prices and ensure you're making a smart purchase. So, there you have it, the story behind the 1981 Lincoln cent, its rare black shade, and what makes it valuable in today's market. These pennies can definitely fetch more than $35,000 if they have unique characteristics. Who knew a little black penny could be worth so much more? Next up, we're diving into one of America's most iconic coins, the 1984 Lincoln Cent. It's a coin many of us might overlook because it's common, right? But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary coin could have extraordinary value, especially if it's in great condition and has that unique copper shading? That's right. Today we're going to look at the details that make this 1984 Lincoln 1 cent, especially one without a mint mark, stand out in the collector market. We'll talk about its copper color, its historical background, grading specifics, and how much it's worth today. If you've got a jar of pennies somewhere, you may want to take a closer look. Let's start with a little bit of background. The Lincoln cent, or penny, has been around since 1909, introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin's design is one of the longest running in U.S. history, and it was created by Victor David Brenner. But today we're focusing on the 1984 version of this iconic coin, produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, if your 1984 Lincoln cent doesn't have a mint mark, that simply means it was minted in Philadelphia. While Philadelphia minted pennies from 1984 aren't especially rare in terms of mintage numbers, some coins from this year do carry a unique appeal for collectors. So what makes this 1984 cent special? First, it's made of a copper-plated zinc composition. This means that, while it has a beautiful copper color, the core is actually zinc. The copper shading we see on the surface can be quite unique, with certain pennies exhibiting a more distinct copper tone than others. Coins that maintain their original copper shading well over time without heavy oxidation or discoloration are especially attractive. For collectors, this unique look can make a 1984 Lincoln cent stand out, particularly if it's in very fine or better condition. Now, condition is everything when it comes to value, and grading plays a huge role in a coin's appeal. When we say very fine condition, it's a specific grade that describes a coin with slight wear on the high points, but overall sharpness and detail. You'll see clear details on Lincoln's profile, and on the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial will be well defined but may have slight wear. A very fine 1984 Lincoln cent without a mint mark indicates that the coin is in relatively well-preserved condition despite its age. This level of preservation enhances its value, as many pennies from circulation show significant wear and tear. Alright, let's get to the big question: how much is this coin worth today? Generally, for circulated 1984 Lincoln cents without a mint mark, you'd find their market value ranging from $33,000, but in a very fine condition, these coins can start attracting collectors willing to pay a premium for a piece in above-average preservation. Depending on the coin market, a very fine or higher-grade 1984 Lincoln cent can sometimes fetch between $53,000 if it has exceptional qualities. The coin's collector value is influenced by its copper tone and condition, as collectors look for coins with minimal blemishes or discoloration. If you're interested in finding a 1984 Lincoln cent in great shape, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, examine the copper tone. A rich, even color is preferable. Next, look for clarity in Lincoln's profile and detail on the reverse side. Finally, remember that proper handling and storage are key. Use cotton gloves and store your coins in holders to avoid scratches and oxidation. So, why should you care about a 1984 penny? It may be the rarest or highest value coin out there, but it's a fantastic example of how small details can make a big difference. Collecting coins like this is about more than just monetary value. It's about preserving a piece of history, something you can hold in your hand that tells a story of America in the 1980s. There you have it. The 1984 Lincoln cent, a small coin with big character and a rising collector value. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more coin content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. And remember, you never know what treasure you might find in your pocket change. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.